Hello everybody, David Lombardino here, Editor-in-Chief of DLA Editors and Proofers, with part 3 of our video series on how to nail a virtual interview. In part 1 of this series, one of the items I talked about was a budget and how much money that you could expect to spend on getting the equipment needed to set up the video to get that really great video quality. And I mentioned the idea of saving money by buying equipment used, and I also dropped a note about actually selling your equipment once you finish the interviews to make your money back. And so those will be the two subjects of this video. Now, before I get into it, I want to just mention that we are not sponsored, but we would love for you to support us, and you can do that by signing up for one of our excellent services. We offer a full range of editing and proofreading, critiquing, and consultation services for many aspects of your application, whether that's a personal statement, CV, ARIS application, cover letter, thank you note, or whatever. We can help you with it as long as it's a written document, and we will be happy to provide our expertise for you to help you achieve your goal. And so now let's jump into buying and selling used camera equipment. And so for this video, I'm going to be referring to two sites. I'm going to be referring to eBay and to KEH. Now, each one has its advantages and disadvantages. With eBay, you can often get camera equipment cheaper because there's no overhead involved. You're dealing directly with the person selling the camera equipment, and you can also generally get more money for it when you sell it. By contrast, KEH offers a more secure platform. You are less likely to run into issues where somebody buys your camera and then charges it back, and then you can't get your camera back and you don't have your money, or that sort of thing. There's a lot of policies that eBay has in place to protect against that. But if you wanted absolute security, then you would want to go through a third party like KEH. They will give you, they will buy your equipment from you, give you what is a fair price. Of course, they need to make their money, so there will be a margin there for that. And so let's get into it. First, I'm going to be looking at eBay and kind of taking you through what I see as kind of some different pieces of advice that I can give you from my experience of using eBay over the years. And so first, let's look at what it would be like to buy a used equipment. So on the list of available available cameras for using with this video setup, there is a EOS 6D Mark II. So let's just do a search to see what we find when we do that. When you're doing a search for a camera body that comes with a detachable lens, I always go ahead and put body only. A lot of times cameras can be packaged with other items or other accessories, whether it's a lens or extra battery or what have you. And so here you see you've got 196 results. Now there's a few things that I'm going to do right away with these results. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down and look for where the item is located. As you can see, it's at default, and default, I believe for their website, is worldwide. You definitely do not want to be buying equipment or selling equipment to anybody outside the United States. I understand that there's certain measures that eBay has in place for that, but once it leaves the United States, it leaves the jurisdiction of the laws of the United States if there's any problem with the transaction. So I always set it up to US only. Sometimes you may be able to find a deal where if you find somebody selling a camera locally, that you don't have to pay for shipping because you can just pick it up directly from the person, and that's where you could specify a range closer to your zip code. Generally, I avoid that. I figure the time of actually going to pick it up and everything, would have been better to spend the $10 or $20, whatever, of the shipping. And a lot of times there is also free shipping involved. Now, something to another caveat with regard to that. As you can see, so this listing has free shipping, free returns. This shipping is $15. This is $16. When you create an account on eBay, the shipping cost that you see is based on your location relative to the location of the camera. So you will be paying more for shipping if it's not free shipping. You will be paying more the greater the distance that needs to be covered. It's just something to keep in mind. So when you're looking at camera listings, and of course here, this is an older camera, I don't want to pay the full price for a new camera. So I'm going to select used, and that already takes us down to 13 results instead of 196. eBay offers the option to sort by different criteria. I mentioned about distance. You can sort by the one that's nearest to you first. I generally will look at two of these. So I'll look at price plus shipping lowest first, and I'll look at time ending soonest. So time ending soonest is really helpful if you're going to be bidding on an item. Now, with eBay, there are two ways to purchase an item. You can bid on it, or you can use the buy it now option. A lot of times I find buy it now is pretty close to what the final auction price would be. But of course, with auctions, you always have the option you always have the opportunity to get a little cheaper. And so here you see this one's at you can see Canon EOS 6D Mark II. It's the body only. See the pictures. Okay, let's do that. And I'll tell you a couple other things that I always look for. You definitely want to make sure that it comes with the battery charger. That's really important because that may not always be mentioned, and you may end up with a camera and a battery but no way to charge it, or you may need to buy the charger separately. If it comes with the manual, that's nice, although I can't remember. It's been several years since I've actually used a paper manual. All the cameras that you have available or that you're going to be using with this software, you'll be able to find the manual online just by doing a quick Google search, and it's actually what I find a lot of times I find a lot easier to use because you can just do a search through it. All right, and so you click through the photos. I mean, this shows you, to have this kind of mark on the body of a camera, that's almost, that's nothing. It's really common to have something like that. Again, you've got some scuff marks there. I don't care about that. Here you've got a cracked LCD screen. That's a little annoying. As long as you can use the camera and it's functional for you, especially if you're not going to be keeping the camera long term and you're only using it for your interviews, finding cameras or other equipment that have cosmetic flaws like this is a great way to save some money. You can get it cheaper than one that doesn't have the cosmetic flaws, but still, and it still works perfectly. And of course here, this shows you the screen. That's, one of the ways to set the settings on the camera that I mentioned in the previous videos. So let's just scroll down. So, okay, body only condition is used. Whenever you have a used condition, camera or lens or anything else, I always want to see what is the quality of the functionality of the item I'm looking at. Of course, here you have the option to enter the bid, $600 or more. I'm not going to be doing that now. You can go and see the bid history if you like. Now, these item specifics right here, where it says item specifics all about this product, this is automatically put in by eBay. It's the standard information for that model. So I always skip past that because I already know what I'm looking for, which is right here. Okay, so here we see the top screen is damaged and is not working. Okay, well, in my experience, you can set all of the settings using the back screen of the camera, although this may be a challenge for you. And so if it is, that's something that you'd want to watch out for. But again, if you're able to do that, then this is a great way to save money. And one way to know about that is you can actually, if you're considering buying this camera and you're thinking to yourself, man, I don't know if I can use it if that top screen is damaged and not working, download the manual, look at the manual on the internet, download it, and go to the parts of the manual that talk about setting the settings that you need to do for the video conference or your virtual interview, and see if you can do them without using that top screen. And if you can, then then you're in great shape. Okay, and an important part of that is that the touch function on the back screen works perfectly. So that's a way on this particular camera model to set the settings. So as long as you can do everything on the back screen, the top screen shouldn't matter. So it says no damage to the actual screen. That's good. Focusing and all picture taking functions work. Okay, well, but they work to what extent? So this is where I start to raise a red flag for me. I would consider emailing the person selling this camera and say, okay, well, to what extent does it function? Does it work? Does it have any flaws in functionality? Does it function as new? Does it function perfectly? Like, what's the story on that? Because you do want to get into specific detail. You can even ask like the details of how is it in terms of taking video. Sending an email like that to get that type of precision is very important, because if for some reason they send you the camera and it doesn't work as you expected, if you can document it, then that the seller said that it would do what you find actually it cannot do, then that makes it really easy for you to make a claim and get your return to get your money back if you have any difficulty with the sellers. Now, some of the sellers are going to be easier to work with than others. One way to know about that, and I'm going to come back to the details in a moment, one way to know about that is you can see the number of feedbacks that somebody has right over here in the seller information area on the right hand side. And you see they have 94 reviews on transactions that they've done. This tells me that this is an individual selling this camera and not a store. If it's a store, you could expect the feedback number to be 3,000, 10,000, something a lot higher. And generally stores are going to be it's just going to have a lot easier time if you have any issue getting refund, returning it. And another place to look is right over here. Returns. Seller does not accept returns. This is very common among individuals who are selling items on eBay. Not so common among stores, because stores will commonly accept returns and have a return policy. However, even if it says that the seller does not accept return, if they sell you something that doesn't work as is described, you can make a claim through eBay and get your money back. Of course, I'm hoping to save you all that hassle, but I am just letting you know that that option is available, that even if it does say it does not accept the returns, you can return it if there's a flaw with the item that you're purchasing that was not previously disclosed. This is really more for like if you buy it and then you change your mind and you want to return it. No, you can't return it for that. There has to actually be something, a discrepancy between the item that is delivered to you and the description in the setting. And so, or sorry, in the description in the listing. And it says, if you would like me to test anything, let me know. Awesome. Yeah, I'd have him test the video settings that you're looking to use. It includes a battery, charger strap, and manual. The battery is also really important. Sometimes these are sold without the battery. Sometimes they're sold without the charger. So it's not a deal breaker if it doesn't come with the battery or the charger, but just keep that in mind that you would want to deduct your price, or deduct that from the price, the cost of whatever the battery or the charger would be. So let's go back and take a look at a few more listings. Okay, so that's at $590 with 1 day left. This is at $780. Now, why is this so much higher if it's 6 days left and instead of 1 day? Let's take a look at that. Okay, I can see what's going on here already. So the reason this is higher, there's a couple of reasons. One is it comes with the original box, which is, it's nice to have, but ultimately it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything in terms of how you can use your camera, whether it works or anything like that. However, if you have the box and you're looking to sell it, it does generally get you a higher sell price. You pay more to get the box, but you can also get more in selling it when you do have a box. He also has here, or she, the seller has here, an external battery grip. That's what this thing on the right-hand side is, just in front of the box. Those have a value of about $200 in general. Depends on the camera and the age. But yeah, that's really going to make up the difference there. And then what you see below it is actually the battery pack that gets inserted with the 2 batteries into that battery grip. And so you can see also that this camera comes with 2 batteries instead of 1. So if I'm looking to buy a camera for the interviews, this is one that I'm automatically not going to buy because I know that I'm paying for stuff that I'm not going to need. I do recommend having a second battery, but a second battery may cost, say, $20 or $30, and that's all you would need. You don't need the entire battery grip. Just to say the camera's in great shape and well taken care of, always cased when not in use. The shutter count is slightly over 21,000. Okay, you're not always going to see a shutter count on the cameras. Don't be freaked out about that. Really, what you're going to want to watch out for is if the shutter count is like over, say, 300,000 or 400,000, which is going to be the normal expected life of the camera. 20,000 is essentially nothing, so don't worry about that. Really, what you want to watch out for in terms of camera performance is, again, what I was talking about on the previous listing, where you're looking at how is it cosmetically. If you see some really banged up camera where it's got some big dents in it or something like that, that would be a concern. But if it's just got paint rubbed off or a scuff mark on it, not a big deal, especially if the listing states that it's in perfect functioning condition. So yeah, he has original box, original charger, battery grip, and 2 batteries. Selling because he's, yeah, well, who cares about the reason for selling? That's, you know, people can write whatever they want about that. Okay, and then now we see that we get a little higher. We're in the $1,200, $1,000 for this. But again, I have this sorted by time ending soonest. What does price plus shipping lowest first look like? Okay, again, so yeah, we get up to $1,000. So, you know, for what I see here, what I would look at is that first one, that 590. I'd stay on that and see, you know, what happens with it. You could always add it to your watch list and monitor the bidding. As it gets closer to the end of the auction, you can put a bid in at that time. Of course, other people will have that strategy as well. Now, how do you know if, you know, what should be a good price here? Well, you know, you can do buy it now at $1,000. Okay, and a lot of times, you know, what I'd like to see is that there would be more listings than just these to kind of get a comparison and get an idea of how many, you know, if you have, say, 10 or 15 listings, then you can kind of get an average sense of how much their value is, how much you should be paying for it. That's where KEH is a really great option as well. And so let's go to their website right here at KEH Camera. So KEH, again, is that third party that buys and sells used camera gear. And if we were to go in here and do EOS 6D Mark II, what would we get? So that's the EOS 6D Mark II's, $1,250. Here, that one's out of stock. This is the EOS 6D original, $625. That's also a great option. We are looking specifically at the EOS 6D Mark II. So here it is at $1,256. And let's see, with battery and charger, that's an excellent quality, excellent plus, like, new, minus. So excellent with battery and charger would be fine. So you know you're at $1,256. So if you're on eBay, you know, anything you get under than that will be, you know, will be a reasonably good deal. One of the things that happens a lot of times, I'm going to see if there's, because you see, like, this is buy it now, so it means there's no bidding on it. But you see, buy it now, or best offer. So this is an option where you can actually propose a lower price. Now, generally speaking, you know, somebody is slightly used, $1,050. That's already a relatively low price. If you're going to offer them a buy it now, they might do it for like $50 lower. I don't see them going a lot lower than that. Although I do see in these pictures that it comes with the box, but I don't see a battery or anything else mentioned. So that's good. Great condition. Yeah, includes the original box charger and battery. Shutter count is 422. Yeah, so this to me, look, whatever. Wife is keeping lens. Okay, thanks for letting us know. Anyway, this to me looks like a steal. If it, you know, 422 shots, like new condition. I mean, this is really great. If you really want to get that like new condition, it's not a steal in terms of the overall amount of money that you're spending, But it's a steal in terms of, over here on KEH, you'd be paying $1,300 for that, and then here you're paying $1,050. So final thing to look for, shipping. I mentioned shipping cost, expedited shipping. So you definitely want to get, in this delivery estimate. And so, take a look at that. Make sure that the shipping option on the listing is going to get it in time for whenever you need it. Sometimes I've seen on here where the shipping could be like 4 weeks out or something ridiculous like that. So this is November 13th. This is November 17th. So you see, like, there's already a week-long difference between this one and that first one, or the other one that we looked at that was, November 10th. So, again, like, these are all items located in the United States, but shipping time can vary. So that's all I have to mention about buying used equipment on the internet, whether it's through eBay or KEH. And of course, there are other stores that sell used camera equipment. Adorama, BH Photo do it. I think lensrentals.com does it as well. So you can definitely do a search on there. One item to mention is that these stores, these independent stores, often do not list their items on eBay. So for example, KEH, that camera that we saw for sale there, they don't list that on eBay. And so you might be interested in going and looking around at the other stores. Generally speaking, your pricing at the independent stores is going to be pretty consistent from one store to the next. So if spending the absolute least is your goal, then you'll want to go through eBay. If you want assurance of the quality or have a no hassle transaction, you're willing to pay a little bit more money, then go to one of these others, whether it's KEH, Adorama, B&H, or any of the other stores, and I'll provide links to those stores in the description below. And so now that I've covered buying used equipment, let's talk about selling used equipment. And let's do that first by going back to eBay. Okay, here we are. And let me just scroll back up. Okay, so selling equipment on eBay is a lot like buying it. And I'm going to go through some of the items that I look for when I'm looking to sell something on eBay. So again, we just put in the item that we're looking to sell. I've already done that. I've already got the listing. So there's a couple of things that I'd like to look out for. I'd like to see, okay, generally, what are people selling their equipment for, to kind of get an idea of the pricing. There are two ways to list something on eBay. You can list it as an auction with a 5-day, 7-day, or I think 3-day auction time. I generally go for 7 days when I'm setting up an auction, run that from Sunday to Sunday, starting in Sunday evening and finishing Sunday evening. You also have the option to do buy it now. Buy it now is where you set a fixed price, and it's just the price that you're willing to sell it at, and then whoever pays that price can automatically wins the item. There is option that you can add on to buy it now, which is you can do buy it now or best offer. So let's say that you're hoping to get $1,050 for it, but you are willing to entertain other offers. Say somebody wants to get a little bit of a discount and they offer $1,040 and you're willing to take it, then you can go ahead and accept that. And so that's what that best offer option means on there. And actually, when you're setting up your listing, you can do a combination of both. You can do both auction and buy it now. So you could set the starting auction price at, say, $500, and then you could set the buy it now price at $1,050 and just see what happens. Now, when you are setting up the auction, it is going to give you an option for the price that it starts at. Generally, I'm not sure that there's a really good rule of thumb there. Sometimes, if it's an option, if it's an item that is sure going to be getting a lot of bids and a lot of attention, even if you set the starting price at 99 cents, there's no way it's going to stay there. The flip side is that if it doesn't get a lot of attention and it is a high value item, so let's say, for example, that it is really worth $1,000, but you're only going to get like a viewer per week, or somebody come across it pretty infrequently, then if you set it at 99 cents, they'll bid at 99 cents, and there's not not ever going to be somebody to come along to bid any differently, and so they'll end up getting it for 99 cents. So that is the one thing to watch out for, generally speaking, in terms of selling items on eBay. But in terms of the cameras and lenses that we've been talking about, you really shouldn't have that issue. Okay, so when you are looking to sell it, here's some tips for you. So look at the headings, for example, and see what stands out to you in terms of how to set up your own heading. Look to see kind of what is really attractive to you. So I see here, for example, that it's black. All these EOS 6D Mark IIs are black. They don't come in any other color as far as I know. Plus you can see that it's black. That's not really a standout item for me. Body only is certainly worth mentioning because that's what you're selling. CPIX, that's tacit in my opinion. 26.2 megapixels, people are going to know what the megapixels are for this camera, or they're going to understand that the megapixels are going to be high enough to give them what they're looking for. I don't see that as such a really big deal. But as I go down here, I do see a full frame that could be interesting. But again, like if you're shopping for a 6D Mark II, you're pretty much already going to know if it's a full frame camera. What I really like here is the word mint. Or, if it is in mint condition, then definitely put it, or like new, put that in the heading. I really like doing that. Something else I really like is putting everything that comes with it. So it includes a battery and charger. That's awesome. Now, when you're setting up your headline or your heading, you're going to be limited to the number of characters that you can use, not the space that it takes up, but the number of characters. And I'll get back to that in a moment. One way to save on characters is you can do what this seller did here, which is abbreviate "and" with the ampersand. Another way, if you were happening to set this up and weren't running out of characters, is you could actually abbreviate "with" to W//. Now, one of the things that I really like to do when selling something on eBay, and I don't see anybody else has done here, is putting my title or heading in all capital letters. You're limited only by the number of characters, not by the actual space that it takes up. So by putting them in all capital letters, it really helps that title to stand out among other listings. Now, in this case, we're looking at just 13 search results for this particular item. So that's not really that big of a deal. But if it's 200, several hundred listings, and you really want to help stand out, putting it in all capital letters can certainly do that for you. Let me see what else I wanted to mention before actually getting into one of these listings. Oh yeah, so you see this listing here has a shorter heading. Now this is definitely far short of the character limit that's allowed for a listing, but you may actually find that this looks cleaner, neater, and makes a more attractive presentation in terms of finding your item in the list. And so if you like that, then go for it. That can be personal preference. But if you have a lot of long extra characters like this M/P EX and this kind of squiggly bracket and stuff, that can be really distracting. It looks a little odd, whereas this one looks a lot cleaner. And so then I would want to maybe do it like this. Okay, now one of the next things to consider, and I'm going to go back up to this one that I know for sure has this. Make sure you take good pictures. Now, this picture is not very, very good because it's kind of dark and it's not very well lit. Now, I understand that you may not have a professional camera to take pictures of the camera that you're selling. You can certainly use your smartphone for that. Just make sure that your picture is well lit. Now, interestingly, this second picture is a lot better than the first. If you just see that, it's a lot better lit and it's a lot more attractive. So just try to, get a well-lit photo instead of one that's too dark. Something else that you want to do with your photos is you definitely want to take pictures of any cosmetic item that is not in a like new condition. So any dents, marks, scratches, what have you. This seller has done a great job of that here. You can see that there. And then, again, we talked about this earlier, but the scuff there on the flip out screen and then on the LCD screen. You definitely want to make sure that every cosmetic item is documented. and to do so not only with photos, but also in this description down below. As I mentioned earlier, this portion of the description is automatically inserted by eBay. This is the part that you put in yourself as the one selling the item. So definitely look through different descriptions and see what you like about certain descriptions and what you don't like to get an idea of what you want to do with yours. Definitely mention all the cosmetic details in terms of any cosmetic items that there are, whether it's scuffs or scratches, what have you, any blemishes. Also talk about the functionality. How does it function? Does it function in, perfectly? Does it have any functionality issues? Definitely cover both cosmetic and functionality in your listing, and of course say what is included in it. So the battery, charger, strap, and manual. It could be a box, it could be a second battery, whatever is included, make sure you list it here. When you are listing your item on eBay, you'll have the option to charge for shipping or to offer free shipping. Some people say offering free shipping gets you a higher bid amount. In my experience, buyers basically keep into account the shipping amount when they're bidding. So it should be more or less equal, although sometimes I do see where it actually doesn't matter to them, and so you do end up getting a higher bid amount. On a camera, I recommend always charging for shipping, and you can select which item which shipping option you'd like to select. Something else is that when you're listing an item for auction, you can put in your description that you will not accept bids from people who have, for example, 0 feedback or less than 10 feedback. Generally speaking, if you're going to get into a situation of fraud, it's going to be somebody who created an eBay account just to purchase your item. And so if they don't have any history, you can put that in your description, and then when they're actually bidding on it, then you can go ahead and cancel out their bids. And so if you see here, this is a list of people who've bid on it. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You've got 626, that's very good. 0, 0, 0. So if this were my listing, I would be concerned about that. If nobody came along to outbid them, you would have the option as the one selling it in your account to cancel that bid. You definitely do not want to be in a situation where the bid closes with somebody at a 0 feedback, unless you've already put that in the description. And then even if it closes with 0 feedback, you can still cancel that top bid, I believe, and then offer the item to the second bidder, who might have bid higher if they hadn't been outbid by the 0 feedback person. So definitely, watch out for that when you're running your auction. I mentioned about being able to set it up as both an auction and buy it now with the best offer available. What else do I want to mention about listing it? So I've mentioned about finding the price by looking at the other buy it now listings and the auctions, setting that up. Okay, so if you are concerned that you're going to be selling your camera and then you ship it and then some issue happens with the payment and you've lost your money and the camera, and you want to go for something that's a lot more secure, then I recommend to sell it to a third party or a camera store like KEH. I like KEH because they give you this instant quote that sometimes others don't. So with other stores, you may actually have to ship your item in before you have any sense of the quote that they're going to give you. They process it, they offer you a quote, and then you either accept it or you don't. I like KEH because they give you the price right away. And so the way to do that is you've got so when you first come to the KEH website, you click on this sell item right here in the menu, and as it happens, because of cookies, it already has my search term in here, but I'm going to pretend this is what it should look like, where it says product name when you first arrive on it, and just start typing. So EOS 6D Mark II, and there's the camera that I'm looking for. Okay, then the next item is condition. And so if you're not sure what condition it's in, click on this, and this will give you the description. And so excellent, for example, shows moderate wear for the age of the item with the possibility of small dings or blemishes. Glass may have slight blemishes but will not affect picture quality. Let's assume that your camera has blemishes on it, then that's the one to go for. Of course, this is really just aimed at getting a quote and knowing what, kind of a ballpark figure of what they're going to offer you. You will actually send it in for them to confirm the price. And so see if I can make a section here. I had to reload because earlier I couldn't get the drop down to work for me, but I reloaded it. Here it is again. And if I choose excellent, comes with battery and charger. Yep, add that to the quote. And I see $791. Now, $791 is quite a bit lower than what I could potentially get by selling it on eBay, where as we saw, we're at $1,050, $1,100 maybe, maybe. So we're looking at, $250, $300 difference selling it to KEH versus eBay. And that may be fine for you if you don't want to run any risk about selling it to somebody you don't know on eBay. Then maybe that's worth it to you. On the other hand, maybe you are wanting to get as much money as you can, and you trust eBay's policies and procedures they have in place, and you would like to go for that. Now, in my experience, I have run into problems on eBay only when dealing with or performing transactions outside the country. So whether that's buying something from a vendor outside the United States or selling something to somebody outside the United States, those are really the only times that I've had run into trouble with eBay. A lot of times what may happen on some situations is somebody simply doesn't pay for an item. That's annoying, but you haven't really lost anything other than the time it took to go through an auction and then have them not pay in the end. You can report that to eBay, and then you can relist your item without any problem. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed these tips on how to buy and sell used equipment. If I've made a mistake in anything that I've mentioned here, or if you've got some other insight, I'd love to hear it. Put those in the comments below, as well as any questions that you might have. If there's something that you didn't understand or you'd like to follow up on, put a comment in the description and I'll be happy to answer it. Again, don't forget to go check out our services that we offer, whether it's for personal statements, CVs, etc. Come check us out at www.dlaeditors.com.